Hey guys, welcome back to the Cool Classic Cage Show, and today we're talking about Days Gone. Now, for me personally, I really enjoyed Days Gone when it dropped. I got it day one. I actually got the collector's edition of the game, played it on PS4 Pro, and it's one of those games where I really liked it. I liked the main character, I liked the side characters, I liked the story, I liked the gameplay. I was very immersed in that world. Um, I really liked all that, but unfortunately, when the game came out, it came out pretty buggy, performance issues. So I really liked it, but I did definitely take back some points, let's say, because of those issues. But I will say, after many months and then patching the game honestly is a really good experience now, especially on PC. Oh my god, the PC port, it's one of the best ports of a PlayStation exclusive thus far, if not the best from what I've played. It When you play that game and play it in its fully realized form, it's a really awesome experience. Would I say it's a masterpiece? No. Would I say it's extremely fun and very entertaining and very immersive? Hell yes. Oh my god, I love driving the bike and fighting off the freakers, and the backstory with the freakers is really interesting. Um, Unfortunately, when the game came out, Games Journos basically killed a potential Days Gone 2 from happening with their stupid ass reviews that a lot of us PlayStation fans that were enjoying the game felt were completely unfair. And apparently, the game director of Days Gone, feels the same way. So let's just jump right into the article. Days Gone dev blames woke reviewers on game's low critic scores. Now, John Garvin, I haven't always agreed with him in the past. One thing he did say that I completely disagreed with was, well, if you don't buy the game day one, don't expect a sequel. That just didn't make, it's one of those things where you can't beat people into buying your fucking game. Like, and the thing is, I agree with what he's saying here, but his previous logic is literally the same kind of logic that the people he's criticizing here use. So I don't always agree with him, but in this instance, I definitely do agree with John Garvin. He says, well, let's read the article. John Garvin, the writer and creative director of Days Gone, believes that the game received low critic scores due to woke reviewers. The former developer at Bend Studio also blames the poor reception on technical bugs and reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. Days Gone released on April 2019 on PS4 and has an overall Metascore of 71, which is relatively low for a Sony first-party game. So John Gavin, he basically responds to someone who's a fan of Days Gone. So let's read what the fan said. They said, "I will never understand how this game didn't get universal praise from critics. One of the few times I've been utterly blown away because I was expecting an average experience based on the reviews. Like I said, game definitely suffered from technical issues, but when they did strip that away, it is an amazing experience. It's really fun game." But John Garvin's response is 3 reasons. It had tech issues like bugs, streaming and frame rate. It had reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. And 3, it had woke reviewers who couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass. Now, the first thing I will say, number 1, to me that is important, whether a game is well optimized or not. The problem is to reviewers, like critical reviewers who unfortunately their review and critique matters in this industry. On Metacritic, they don't really care about whether a game is well optimized or not. A good example of that personally is if you look at the reviews for Elden Ring. Now, I'm not saying Elden Ring's a bad game, but when the game came out, the game had technical issues. The game's performance, it wasn't very optimized. Some people on the consoles were choosing to play the last gen version of Elden Ring because that was a steadier game. Basically, the frame rate was steady as opposed to the next gen version of Elden Ring. I have friends on PC that definitely had quite a bit of issues running Elden Ring, and it wasn't because of their rigs, because they definitely have beefy PCs in their own right. It's more so poor optimization on the part of the developers. And despite all that, critics, scored the game extremely highly. It's like one of the highest rated games. It's like a 96 on Metacritic from what I do recall. So, to critics, they don't really give a fuck on whether the game is well optimized or not. Because if it did, it would show consistently through all of their reviews. So I don't personally think that Days Gone being, poorly optimized was really the negative for the critics. Now, number 2, Gavin says reviewers couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. I mean, a lot of critic reviewers in the gaming space, they don't even know how to play games to begin with. They want all the games to be played on the super easy difficulty, and they don't really... some of these reviewers probably don't even enjoy the experience overall because they're probably playing it on super easy just to run through the game. I know a lot of reviewers were complaining the game was long, and I do agree that the game is a bit long, but I feel as though they would be more enticed to just run through the game and not really give a fuck because of that, because they don't really care about this. It's a job for them, and some of them actually hate the job, hate the people they write these reviews to inform. They hate the very people that give them the opportunity to have the job that they have. And Garvin says in 3, it had woke reviewers who couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass. So, there was definitely a bit of raunchiness between Deacon St. John and his girlfriend Sarah. And it was more so like on the silly, the silly side when it comes to their interactions. They definitely had some moments that were silly, and people that adhere to identity politics would hate it. And it's like, it's down to earth because these things do happen. And it's like, are you expecting a dude that's part of a biker gang to be like the most cordial and gentlemanly like person? No, that's unrealistic. But apparently, that's a no-no. And a lot of the complaints, the petty ass complaints, were between the relationship of Deacon St. John and his girlfriend. A lot of it was extremely petty. And, the game did get slammed by a lot of these reviewers because I genuinely believe they're identity politics. A lot of these reviewers can't objectively review games. They always have to pull in some bullshit that doesn't belong in their review altogether. And they're allowed to do it. I don't know why. It totally depreciates these websites and these websites' opinions among the eyes of the people. We look at games journalists and laugh because they are a joke at this point. So yeah, I don't really agree with the first point so much with the bugs issues because these game journals don't give a fuck about that. The other two, I definitely do agree with personally. And it sucks because these motherfuckers literally had, because of their dumbass opinions, had a sequel to a good game canceled. And I wholeheartedly believe that Days Gone 2 could have been a great game. Days Gone was a good game. Days Gone 2 could have been a great game, especially where they were headed in regards to basically the freakers and what was going on there. And I personally really wanted to see Deacon and Sarah as a couple due to, the ending of the game. I would have liked to have seen them actually, work together more. That would have been awesome. We're not going to see that, unfortunately, because of these assholes and honestly the games industry, Sony, as well as other publishers taking Metacritic as the basically as to whether games should be made or not. They take Metacritic way too fucking seriously. They actually, value these dumbass critics that don't have their heart in the right place, don't do objective work at all. And it sucks, and it's a problem in this industry. I don't like talking about Metacritic. Unfortunately, I have to talk about Metacritic sometimes because it's taken fucking seriously. That's the problem. Meanwhile, it's a fucking joke. It's a bunch of opinions from people, a lot of people that don't even play video games to fucking begin with. But I digress, and we continue. So in writing this, he definitely had some people respond, including Jason Schreier, the fucking games journalist that's never worked an hour of overtime in his life, clearly, by how much he bitches about crunch. But Bloomberg's Jason Schreier has responded to the charge, humorously replying that this is spot on. As we all know, video games starring gruff white guys never get positive reviews. He also clapped back, claiming that Garvin had thrown the game's engineer under the bus in the past to evade criticism. I mean, look, the reality is, the games journalists include their personal politics in whether a game is acceptable or not. And when they deem a game isn't acceptable, unfortunately, it does get a shit score. Not whether it's based upon whether the game is good or not, but whether they deem through their social political ideology if the game is acceptable or not. That is the fucking problem. That's why it needs to fucking stop. Like, this nonsense really does need to stop. It prevented a sequel that could have been amazing from being made. The article continues. This isn't the first time former Days Gone dev has complained about the game's score, with one developer stating earlier this year that the Metacritic score should be at least an 80. I mean, I think that's fair. I think an 80 is a decent score for the game. Way more reasonable. And Sam Witwer, the actor for protagonist Deacon St. John, also suggesting that some reviewers didn't play the game or rushed through it. I mean, I wouldn't be fucking surprised, I really wouldn't. These people clearly don't like their job very much. PSLS gave Days Gone a 9 out of 10 in their review. Personally, when the game came out, I think a 9 out of 10 was a little too high. An 80 is definitely reasonable if you consider the issues with the game, the performance and optimization overall. But yeah, guys, I think the overall thing here is that we need to stop taking Metacritic so seriously. PlayStation and other publishers need to stop taking Metacritic so seriously. Games journalists are a fucking joke, and a lot of them are on your social, political, woke bullshit nonsense, and they shouldn't be taken seriously. It's time to stop. We've dealt with this shit, for fucking 6-7 years now. We're sick and tired of it. Alright, so it gets serious when these things cancel potentially great projects, and overall, woke ideology in gaming is ruining gaming for the gamers. I think that's the overall thing that I would like to express here. The gaming space, there is no room in the gaming space for these fucking people and their bullshit ideology. You can't give objective reviews of games that are fair in criticism, then get the fuck out and go do something else with your life. But yeah, Jason Schreier needs to not open his mouth when it comes to his subjective thoughts. When he does objective journalism, it is certainly good. It is spot on because, well, I wouldn't even say because of him necessarily. It's more so because of his sources. He has good sources that give him spot on information, and he then uses that to, make his career what it is. So I'd say Jason Schreier's sources are great. Jason Schreier himself is kind of a fucking loser. So yeah, I don't really like Jason Schreier, but if he stays objective, don't mind the dude. When he puts his personal opinions into it, well, he's a clown. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this situation. Do you wish that Days Gone 2 was greenlit? I really do wish it was greenlit. I really love Deacon St. John. I thought he was a really interesting protagonist. Very believable. It's amazing how he mutters to himself a lot of the time in the game. And it feels like the dude really lived in that world, and I really enjoyed that world. It was so vibrant and interesting, and oh man, the freakers fucking chasing you and shit, and you're running from them. It gave me a rush for sure. It's sad that we're not going to see a sequel to that game. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this. If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Follow me over on Twitter if you want to continue the conversation. I will be live streaming the Game Awards, and we're probably just going to make fun of it with some friends. So if you want to come through, feel free. I do have the video that's upcoming on my channel. But yeah, guys, with that being said, I'm out. Peace.